for at least the last year and a half, 2 years. And whenever she presents her message, the inspiration that happens inside that room can only be called a miracle. The leadership inspiration where people really want to take their next step, where they want to go, how they want to support Toastmasters, how they want to support the district, and how they want to take their lives to the next level as leaders, as people, as Toastmasters, comes from this woman. It's just amazing. And so I asked her, I was recommending, I was like, we're going to do a leadership Sunday. Who can I have teach a leadership Sunday? I said, you know what? Mo is the best. She is the best. She's got the best message, the strongest message, and I am so honored to have her as district governor, friend, and teaching you all here today. So please help me welcome Mo Hamilton.
We love each other in our history. You will not see that anywhere else. Correct, Sharon?
It's going to be on the internet.
It's going to be on the internet. You saw it first. Thank you, Juliet, for that wonderful introduction. And I really do appreciate that. Leadership is a passion of mine outside of Toastmasters. I have several degrees in leadership, strategic communications and leadership from Seton Hall University, a master's, graduate certificate, leadership in organizations from the George Washington University, and the list goes on. So it is a sincere passion of mine, but I have to admit, it didn't start that way. And what you're going to hear today about leadership in Toastmasters, what we think inspires others is that when we tell a little bit about our story, our journey, people realize that they can do it themselves. And it's just really that simple. So you're going to hear a little bit about my story blended into today's session on leadership. And hopefully you'll learn something about leadership. And hopefully you'll decide at the end that you want to step up and take advantage of those opportunities we have available for you in either district that you're in. So let's begin. Most of you should have a packet that I put together for you because I'm the type of person that likes something to take home with me and then share it with my clubs. Again, I keep talking about how when you go to a Toastmasters Leadership Institute, a Super Sunday or Saturday, take it to your clubs. It's so helpful when you can give a speech, get credit for it, and then help share the wealth of information you received with other club members. That's also leadership. So keep that in mind. And we're going to go through this packet. On the second page, you will see the quick agenda that we're going to have today. This should be a lot of fun, very interactive. We're going to start with defining Toastmasters leadership and what's in it for me. It's what John Lesko commonly called as his favorite radio station. Because if you know anything about adult learning, which is called adult andragogy, and if it's teaching young people, it's pedagogy. So there is a difference between the two. What you'll find is that adults learn differently. And if you are facilitating, like I am today, you can't facilitate with adults the same way you do with children. So there is a theory based on that. You can look it up. And you will see exactly what I mean. At the top of that list is what's in it for me. Adults right away up front want to know what's in it for me. And I will share with you some books that I find inspirational that you could follow up on some of these theories. And again, if you have an interest, this is a good place to be. So we're going to do that for just a little bit of time. Then next we're going to review the various leadership roles in Toastmasters. I was so excited that during the break, so many of you came up to me and said, Mo, I have a question. I said, can you save it? Because I know someone sitting next to you has the same question. It was a great question. So I did ask if you can repeat that during the session because it's so relevant. Toastmasters is so massive. The website is just so rich. And you can never absorb all of it. And as leaders, we challenge ourselves to keep updated with that information. And I really appreciate, and a shout out to Toastmasters International, I really do appreciate it that we had our recent mid-year training in Baltimore for Region 7. And Toastmasters executives and administrators were in the back of the room. I was really sick that day, but I decided to stay with people, to keep motivated, and if I didn't feel well, I could go back to my room. But I was really fortunate. I got better really quick with a lot of drugs. And so I was paying attention. But the thing was that once I felt better the second day, she came up to me, she says, "You obviously feel a lot better." Because I had so many ideas and suggestions for improvement that she immediately implemented one right away. And under the members only section, there are like recent announcements, recent updates. I told her it was so much that they're putting on the website that's hard for us to keep track of, and boom, it was right there. It's not hard to do, and it keeps us in track as leaders of our clubs and of our districts to keep you informed of new things. So we're going to talk about the various leadership roles. And then what I find to be a lot of fun is working in scenarios. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've done this already with our district executive committee meetings. And these scenarios are real scenarios. They really happen. So if you can imagine it, it's happened in Toastmasters. When I was a state trooper, if you can imagine it, it's happened. So you get a ticket and say, "Call me later for a date," that means that you don't have to come to court. That's not for me, but it happened, okay? So I'm going to implement a lot of fun into this training. It's not meant to be serious. I'd like to see people smiling, nodding heads. Or if you give me that blank stare, maybe you are paying attention. We'll figure it out. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And then lastly, we'll have our question and answer, which will be throughout the presentation. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
So you're going to see a little picture at the bottom of the page, and there's a spot missing. When I joined Toastmasters 6.5 years ago, I would never imagine I would stand here before you as your District 29 governor. That is a fact. I joined the club. I had prior public speaking experience in high school. Everybody knows about forensics, speech and debate. I competed in state finals for New York on my first go-round for original oratory. There are like 12 different categories of competition for public speaking, and that was one of them, and that's to come up with an original speech for 7 minutes. 7 minutes. And I did that, and I was 6th in the state on my first go-round, so I loved public speaking, but doesn't mean I was good at it. So as a trooper, I left, went to the federal side, and they shipped me to D.C. from Leesburg every day. And that really took up a lot of time. Had no idea about the people in my community. I saw their car when I woke up, and I saw their cars when I left and came back. So that didn't offer me the interaction I needed to offer what I call balance in my life. It was all work and no play. And when they finally relocated me closer to home, it stayed in my head that Toastmasters was in my county. Little did I know how many clubs was in the county. Right now it's the largest division in District 29, which is Division D. So I joined the club, met Juliet a long time ago, 6 years ago, and unfortunately, so did the 1991 World Champion of Public Speaking.
Oh.
So if for a minute I thought I was good, forget about it. I really thought about quitting. I said, "You've got to be kidding me. We're supposed to do that?" He showed up on the same day I did. No fair. I didn't understand what it meant to have someone as a world champion of public speaking, and that would be Dave Ross. He was extraordinary. He's not here today, but I'm looking at Joe because he knows about him.
Oh.
So that would be Dave Ross. He's extraordinary as a speaker. And I had no idea that it would involve all of that. All of that was engagement. Something that the average person does not know about unless they're in Toastmasters or they take public speaking seriously. I stuck it through, and within a year I was club president. But I was approached to be club president. They did a good job. 6 months out, 6 months while I was in. "Hey, you look like you'd be a good club president." And I became club president. Shortly after, I became an area governor, became a public relations officer for the whole district, Lieutenant Governor Marketing, Lieutenant Governor Education and Training, and now here today as your district governor. So that's a fast track. I'm not saying I expect each and every one of you to follow that, but it's important that you know my journey. And earlier today, before the sessions, we had our region advisor, Sharon Hill, and your Lieutenant Governor Education and Training, Juliet Brown, on my radio show, talking about their leadership journey. So we're going to post that on our website, and you'll have an opportunity to listen to it. I think it's very interesting to hear those stories. When I speak to Toastmasters groups or groups outside of Toastmasters, I tell everyone I'm a byproduct of our tagline, where leaders are made. I came into Toastmasters only interested in public speaking. the leadership aspect is kind of like a bow and arrow from Cupid, okay? I didn't move like the Matrix. It hit me. And once it did, I was stuck. I was in love. I said, whoa, I like this. I like making a difference in someone's life. And we're going to talk a little bit about which of the leadership traits really matter in Toastmasters. So that's a little bit about me and why I'm here today. That is also the reason why I secured 3 more degrees, because Toastmasters made me want to do more and be more. And just like when I was a state trooper, it's not a job, it's a lifestyle. And we're going to talk a little bit about how leadership is a lifestyle. It's a choice, okay? So turn to the next page. Which leadership style works well in Toastmasters? There are about 9 on this page, or 8. And I'm not going to request that you study those, because the answer should be pretty clear. But I'm going to give you just 30 seconds to take a look at the various traits that are on this page. And everything here is cited. I better do that, right? And then I want someone to tell me which one applies to Toastmasters the most and why. Team? Okay. Anything else? Sorry? Well, what you have to say it out loud.
Coaching style of leadership.
Coaching style of leadership is one that someone mentioned. Anything else?
Cross-cultural.
Sorry?
Cross-cultural.
Cross-cultural. Exactly. What else? The answer is servant leadership. Inculcated and servant leadership is everything that you see on that page. It's a little bit, it's a mixture of the ones that you just mentioned. Servant leadership is probably the toughest leadership style to ever obtain, but it's the most worthwhile. When I received a new inspector in charge of our division, it was very interesting to hear him say at the front of the room, "I am a servant leader." You normally don't hear that in a paid profession. Maybe transformational, but you really don't hear servant leadership. And I said, wait a minute, I just studied that last week. I got to talk to that man, because I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Servant leadership is hard in a for-profit organization. But for a nonprofit, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? I don't get paid. And that's what we're going to talk about today. My team and I will meet every month, collaborate, discuss, and mentor one another. Like I said, thank you, Toastmasters. We get along. I just did my 30-second commercial in case you missed it. But one of the things that we talk about is not that Toastmasters is here, but that it's here. That is servant leadership. Like Sharon said earlier, we don't expect you to know everything about Toastmasters. Some of us will live a lifetime plus 30 years and still find that they may not know something because they changed a policy or procedure. Remember, I talked about it earlier, how things are consistently changing in the organization. That's a good thing. It's a really good thing. But Toastmasters is a servant leadership organization. And way back, if you flip through the pages to the back, you'll see an organizational chart. And you will recognize it used to be what we called an inverted pyramid. Still can be, but it's changed a little bit. So on page 9, this is the service. Notice the word service to our members. Everything that we do in district leadership, whether it's an area governor, division governor, or the top 7, and we'll talk about what that is, it's all about the member. The reason why I put in over 40 hours a week of volunteer time for Toastmasters, one is because of my work ethic. Not your fault, don't feel bad. I'm crazy like that. But it's because I care so much about the outcome. Like Juliet said, we would get emails every day. And after we host an event, and she'll attest to this as well as Mahesh, we will get testimonies from members. I'm so glad that you offered this. It helped me so much. Thank you for answering that question so quickly. I'm able to help my club. That's servant leadership. That's how we get paid. We get it filled right here, and that's what pushes us to work harder and harder. Sharon asked earlier, how many of you loved your jobs? And I saw everybody's hand go up. And that's great, especially in this area. But you would have to love something enough to put so much effort into it and keep a smile on your face. Yeah, I'm a federal agent. Sometimes I have a 17-hour day. Sometimes I'm working over 20 plus hours. But there will always be a smile on my face at a Toastmasters event because this is what I enjoy the most doing in my spare time. And it's kind of ironic because this month's Toastmaster magazine says lead with a smile. Lead with a smile. So if you haven't looked at it, take a look at it because there's a reason for these coincidences. So we talk about how it's servant leadership, and it doesn't require you to give everything. Okay, I'm not asking you to, I don't know how many of you saw the movie Speak, raise your hand, where someone just went bankrupt trying to get to the world champion of public speaking. We're not trying to have you do that. In fact, the organization really doesn't want you to use your own money other than to pay dues. Okay? But what they want is for you to care. And we're going to talk a little bit about the various books that I have here and some of my favorites. So let's go back to the other page, and I'll help you out here. What's in it for me? Well, this is Mo's philosophy in servant leadership for Toastmasters, and again, it's based on my personal experience and observations, and of course, my leadership training. I want someone to announce the first one and give me the examples that are underneath, please. Anybody?
Self-fulfilling destiny.
Self-fulfilling destiny. What does that mean? Audra, do you know?
It says
Those are examples, but what do you think it means?
when you believe something about yourself, you sort of put things into motion that it's going to happen. Mentally, you begin to believe it, whether it's negative or positive, the outcome. Once you start believing it, your brain and your mind starts working towards that goal.
And she said some magical words that are relevant. Setting goals, being a visionary leader. Just because you don't have a title, and I can take this off, does that not make me a leader still? I did that at my other training and almost left it, so I'm going to put it back in my pocket. I'm not trying to be funny. These things mean a lot to me. But it definitely does not mean that you are a leader. It doesn't matter about titles. What matters is here. And Kuzni's and Posner talks a lot about this in the second one. And if someone could read the second one, please. Yes.
Yes, I love this one. Implement the 5 practices of leadership. Model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and always encourage the heart.
Kuzni's and Posner's are the ones that came up with the 360, the leadership challenge. So you probably have heard of that before in your organizations, and it's pretty effective. It's feedback. That's what we do in Toastmasters. And pretty soon, I think the organization will look to providing feedback to our leaders so that we can effectively improve and understand what's working and what's not working. The reason why that book resonates with me is not because it was required reading, but because it makes sense, especially in servant leadership. Encourage others to act. When in Toastmasters have we ever said, you have this assignment and you have to do it? Never. That's why the CL manual has those special projects. You get people in your club, you enlist them to help. There's nothing that we do in Toastmasters by ourselves. Even your speech writing doesn't have to be alone. You should have a mentor if you need it to help guide you along your way. That's why you get credit for helping a newer member with their first few speeches. Nothing should ever be done alone. In fact, we're going to pass out the District 29 hierarchy of things in leadership. Audra, if you can help pass this along. And basically, if you take a look to my immediate right, I have my mentors. I need my mentors. I talk to Joe Jarzenbeck and Lillian Cook all the time. In fact, most of my communication to my leaders are going to blind copy or CC them. Because I don't do everything right. I'm not perfect, never said I was. And in fact, when I came out the box, it said, warning, she might make mistakes. Lots of mistakes. Forgive me, please, I didn't mean to. But that's why we have our mentors. And if you do not have a mentor, no matter where you are in the program, you're not helping yourself a lot. Just by approaching someone you respect and you see value in what they do and how they do it, just approach them and I promise you they will say sure. But that doesn't mean anything. Mentorship, I learned, is a two-way street. It is a dual collaboration between two people who are learners. My deputy chief in my organization taught me that. When I would schedule a meeting with him and say, I need to talk to you, I made sure that I brought all my Toastmaster materials with me, because why repeat the effort? When I was a lieutenant governor, education and training, I had these little cards. And if you attended a TLI twice, you got credit, and then eventually your club would get credit. I gave that to him, and it blew his mind. He loved it, because it's an incentive, and it's a nice way to keep track of progress. Okay? But guess what the outcome is? We're going to open 9 Toastmaster clubs in 9 of our Western offices in the next 3 months. Just because of meeting with him for mentorship, where originally I thought I was going to get information and help and assistance, when in fact it was the reverse. See, we were in a doctorate program together, but he was in a different school in a different discipline. I decided I didn't want to go with that program, so I'm going to go with a different one that I think fits me better in the fall. He completed his program, happily sent Mo Hamilton by email the audio version of his dissertation. I have to say, love my deputy chief, and if you're watching, Greg, how are you? But he called me and he said, Mo, how do you do it? How do you do it? I thought, what did I do now? He said, how do you not say ums and ahs? I had like 5 million of them. I said, didn't I tell you to join Toastmasters? He says, I know, I'm starting tomorrow. And that's how we built the relationship. So sharing your leadership, sharing no matter where you are. Again, he's a higher rank. He had a mutual respect. So you want to make sure your mentors mutually respect you, because that's when you get the most done. What's the third one? Yes?
Challenges and lessons learned, reflection.
Challenges and lessons learned. You know, one of the things about the Toastmaster leadership track is that it's 1 year, and it goes very fast. The way that I spoke to my district executive committee meeting was that I think of it as a treadmill. The first half of the year, you're going up, up, and up. Okay? That could be a bit arduous, a bit tedious, but it's necessary. Along that hike, you're learning your job. You're going to make mistakes that you can live with. The district didn't burn down or anything. And you're going to grow from that. But you, as an individual, have to reflect on your own experience. And I didn't know about that until I went to George Washington University, took their leadership course, and was forced to reflect. Because we're busy, right? I'm lucky if I get to see Beyonce's special last night, even though it came on one after the other, and I woke up, it was still on. So my point is, you have to make time. Some people like to write in their diaries, and I brought that particular special up because that was her diary. It was a video diary that she compiled over 3 years. She edited her video diary, but it was her diary. That's how she was able to deal with her circumstance. You would think she's one of the most famous women in the world with the most money, just got a $50 million contract with Pepsi, blew her. She did an absolutely outstanding job at the Super Bowl. She should be on top of the world, but if you look at that special, she's one of the saddest people in the world. You know, when we talk about people like her, like the president, they're the loneliest people. Because it's hard for others to relate to their situations. Little things bother them more than it would us. And if you look at that special, it's more educational in my eyes, because what I saw was someone who had a lot of issues. who seemed like they had everything. And she went through a lot of things, but what she said was so prolific at 2 a.m. this morning when I saw it for the second time. She said, life has taken me on a journey where the pieces are finally making sense. Things are coming together. It's called an epiphany, folks. If you've never experienced it, it's amazing. And in leadership, you will probably experience it sooner than later. That's why the leadership track is so attractive in Toastmasters, because it's a learn by doing organization. So you get to experience leadership and not lose $1 million contract and worry about it. All you could do is inspire others and motivate them to be the best that they can be. And be the greatest role model. Model the way. Inspire that vision. Help answer those questions or get the answers. That's what leaders do in our organization. Again, you're not going to get paid, but you're going to fill up that heart. Before I move on, I forgot to mention, Koozies is on my Facebook page. Sorry, he's closed his page to new people. And he signed the book, and of the 5 disciplines, he has a different book for it, and this is Encouraging the Heart, which is my favorite. And he signed it for me, and it says, Mo, love them and lead them. Isn't that cute? But really, that's leadership. I'm not saying to fall in love with people, but I'm saying care enough. Have a little higher emotional intelligence. We had this last year when I was LGBT as a debate. It's funny how a lot of people didn't know about this, but it's been around forever. This is a small book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, $19. Take the test. I gave it to my boss. He failed. I asked for my money back. No, I'm just kidding. But basically, it's a great source of information. So you want to reflect, and you want to know what those great lessons learned are for succession. Sometimes in your club, there's someone coming in after you. Why have them repeat the wheel? If you've done the work, why not share it? What's the secret? What is the secret? Have you seen that happen a lot? Someone was president, did a great job, presidents, distinguished. Next thing you know, they're kind of hit or miss for meetings. Then the next person comes in to be president, and you're sitting here scratching your head, wondering what your job entails because TLI hasn't come up yet. It's not fair. It doesn't make sense. If you know anything about me, and my team does very intimately, I don't waste people's time. If there's anything I could do to provide you the information, why not just give it to you? Servant leadership. Number 4, gain rewards both intrinsically and extrinsically. That is the motivation theory. For some of you who do not know, Hertzberg talked about the motivational theory. Some people are motivated by external factors or internal. Each month, we provide at least up to 5 awards to our district members. And I'm on Facebook with a lot of our leadership team, and we gave an award, a well-deserved award, just like the one you saw today, the smaller ones. And she couldn't even get to the parking lot in the snow before she took a photo of herself with her award at the car and put it on Facebook. I didn't know it meant that much to people until I saw it for myself, and I thought, wow, that's amazing. But I could hear people saying, I want next month. I'm going to work real hard. And hey, if that works for you, if that's a motivational factor, you need to know what works for you. I'm not going to know. Maybe getting distinguished Toastmaster behind your name. Maybe that's going to matter most because you're writing a book and you want that distinguished title. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is, find out what motivates you. And if you're not sure, you might want to try Daniel H. Pink Drive. And it talks about motivation. So for a long time, she's sitting in the audience, maybe a couple of years ago. She's not paying attention right now, the lady with the hat. So anyway, I came up to her distressed a little bit. Well, she might have came up to me first, but for a long time, I'm like, why am I so driven? What is wrong with my chemistry here? I gotta get this thing tweaked, because I need some sleep. As you know, I'm up at 2:30 in the morning. But you know, my thing is, it's like, what is this? What's wrong with me? Help, I want sleep. Realistically, I don't want every day taken. I like going to the movies, hanging out with friends, and just relaxing. but there's something else pushing me, and I spoke to you about that. I said, I'm driven like nobody's business, and it's not me doing it. It's as if some other force of nature is just pushing me forward, and I do believe that could be the case. And when I saw Beyonce's biography or video diary last night, she said the same thing. Sometimes you're not going to know what drives you. Sometimes you're going to show up at a Toastmaster meeting just because something told you to be there. Sometimes you're going to give money to the treasurer and just join and fill out the application. You don't really understand it. It was 2 years since I saw the Toastmaster article in our local newspaper before I called the club. I don't know why I chose to call that particular club, but I know I went to the meetings and I knew I wasn't a quitter. My very first speech at the lectern was about me, the icebreaker. And I was doing this. And the reason why is because I'm not a perfectionist, but I like to do things the best to my ability, and I knew that wasn't my best. And actually, it was Juliet. She doesn't remember because I have excellent memory. It was my speech number 3. I wore combat boots. I had a bulletproof vest on underneath a long-coated jacket. I took off my jacket. The title of my speech was Officer Survival. How we can implement muscle memory in our everyday lives. Isn't that exciting? Come on now, you just can't wait to hear about it. And I said, I reached for my gun. You know, everybody in the club dropped down on the ground. I wasn't wearing a belt, let alone a gun belt. I'm thinking, where do you think this gun is at? But the point of my story is, that's the feedback I got. I scared the heck out of everybody. But it was great because I realized that no one was there to hurt me. That I was able to share my most intimate stories, and Sharon talked about this on the radio show today. You know, we are in a unique organization that not only trains every single member, which is just phenomenal, but we offer something like this, training for leadership. My organization's been around 200 years and growing. We have no leadership training. That's why it was so easy to sell Toastmasters. Why repeat the wheel? It's a proven program. It works. Look at me. It should be a poster. Oh, no, it's a bus about us moving around town. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. You can peruse the rest at your leisure. That's my philosophy on Toastmaster leadership, and I'll go through it very quickly. One of the things that I like about this is finding your voice, and you're going to see that on Toastmaster website. For some, they may consider it in public speaking. You finally learn what transitions mean, how to use gesturing, and how to engage your audience. You found your voice. You found your leadership voice. Trust me, I didn't talk like this when I started. I was talking like this. Hi, everyone. I'm from New York. Yep. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm the only girl, 3 brothers. Toastmaster, thank you. It was born as, I don't know what, I don't even want to look it up on my computer, but the point of the story is I didn't come out like this. I became like this, and they said, find your voice. Find what works for you in the organization, but I say, find your leadership voice. Find your niche, find your modus operandi. What works for you? Don't try to emulate someone if it doesn't feel comfortable. It's like wearing a pair of shoes that looks good on someone else, but when you put it on your feet, which are different, it doesn't fit. It doesn't feel right. So find what works for you. That's one of my favorites. And then this is the part you all came for, the Advanced Leader Silver. And it's on the site. This is the Toastmasters International site. This is the leadership track that everyone's questioning about, most particularly the Advanced Leader Silver, which is why my leadership this year decided to have a drive initiative to help educate our members more than anything. Because this is something that, if you take a look, it's a lot to do. And it's time constrained. As we mentioned earlier, you must be a sponsor, coach, or mentor. Well, if you think that you're so close to DTM that you could do it in 2 months, it's not going to happen. Unless you charter a club in 2 months. That's the only way. But you have to know how to maneuver the system in order to use the system. And the reason why I got my DTM in how many years, Juliet? Because I don't remember. 2.5, I think. The reason why is because I understood this. I walked around with this everywhere I went. okay? Everywhere I went. And it was written up on the side. It'll say 2 more speeches to go. It will say, must be an area governor. You know, everything was written up on my chart, and I carried it everywhere I went because I was new trooper. I was a new Toastmaster, and I really didn't know the system, but you're not going to know it if it stays in your book or if it stays on the website. And that's why we're offering this particular part of the training, because we understand that new members and members that have been around just don't know, and what you don't know may hurt you. If you have a goal, as Alpharetta mentioned, to achieve something, but you didn't realize there was a time restraint on it, you're going to get dismayed. I've seen members saying, hey, I'm taking a hiatus. I'm a member of 5 clubs, and I get their emails when it comes to meetings. It's very hard in leadership for me to go to all the meetings. But 5 people in a row saying, I'm taking a hiatus. That's not good. Why? Why are they all taking hiatus? It's because we don't know what's in it for that member. Are we engaging our members to find out what they want out of Toastmasters? And is it because they've reached that point and now they realize they can't achieve it? A lot of members, what they do, at least from our experience, is they will say, I am going to get that DTM June 29, 2012. And one is standing in the back. He knew the exact date, right, Edmund? When you were going to get you, don't laugh, you tell him. I got a good memory. Nobody's going to tell me anything now because I'll remember 5 years from now, but he made sure that the district leadership knew he was getting a DTM. We could count on his DTM. So he knew about the system, he knew what he had to do, and he planned accordingly. One of the other aspects of the Advanced Leader Silver is the High Performance Leadership Project. This is one of the manuals, okay? You're not going to be able to do this in 30 days, at least not correctly. And someone that's been in Toastmasters long enough knows people cheat, but they cheat themselves. They cheat themselves. If I cheated along the way, I couldn't be here before you today because it wouldn't feel right. It's those pair of shoes that just wouldn't fit for me. But because I worked through the program and took advantage of opportunities, I had a television show for Toastmasters every month. When it was time to be a model speaker, I raised my hand and I gave as many speeches as I could. When I spoke outside of the club, I made sure to grab a Toastmaster with me to evaluate me because I get up to 2 speeches from any manual outside the club a year. And I took advantage of that. I spoke in Seattle at a conference, at another international conference. When I went in front of the room of 600, is there a Toastmaster in the house? She says, I am. I said, are you active and in good standing in a club in good standing? Yes. Well, here's my manual. Please evaluate me. That's how I got it in 2 years, folks. I sure didn't get it sitting down watching Beyonce's special, okay? Because I promise you, I'm going to have my second DTM before June 30th. Why? Because my team sees me carry 16 manuals with me everywhere I go. Because it just depends on the situation, which applies. I've already been through them, so which applies. That's the aggressiveness, the motivation, and the drive that I was talking about. Not saying you have to have that as a self-paced program, but you should be educated to know what you need, and that's what we're hoping you get today. Youth Leadership Project, Successful Club Series. Those are another 2 in the ALS that people get a little fuzzy on. Oh, youth leadership's 8 weeks, I can knock that thing out. But you know what? The way I realistically see it, and I know Joe agrees with me, one person should not do a youth leadership project. Now, Toastmasters International kind of realizes this is a problem. So they only say one person gets credit, the coordinator. So what I decided to do with my team, it was 5 of us because we divided the responsibility per week. They said pick different dates to conclude. So if you question anything, challenge the process and ask the questions. Complacency can be an enemy and prevent you from succeeding. So challenge the process, that's exactly an example of that. And it worked. Successful Club Series. We're talking about leadership today. There's a series on leadership. Motivating members. Building a team. You can certainly take what we give you today and give that speech and get credit. So it's not that hard. It's just a matter of understanding and knowing what you can do and can't do. You should never consider in Toastmasters the opportunity to do one thing at a time. Again, it's self-paced, so if it's your modus operandi to do one project at a time, then that's up to you. But don't come to me and say, but I wanted a June 30th. Well, why didn't you do an HPL while you worked on a different project? I've done tons of HPLs, and believe you me, the project in the West with those 9 new clubs, that's an HPL project because I work with a team. And I'm going back to George Washington University to get my Lean Six Sigma Green Belt, which is also that project. I do not believe in repeating the effort. So if I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, I'm sorry, the bird family will go. Down they go. Sorry for all the bird fans in the room. All right, so we've completed this section. Are there any other questions? I know I kind of zipped through it. Did you find it interesting? Did you learn anything new? Yes, in the corner. Yes. Sir?
Well, I don't want to learn how to cheat, but how do you cheat in an organization like this? I've never heard of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it looks kind of weird when people get DTMs every year, I'm just saying. It's happened. Don't know how, but it's happened. And if they get away with it, they get away with it. But they're cheating themselves, is what I'm saying.
They're cheating the club also.
Well, the club appreciates the awards, I'm sure. But see, a lot of people don't realize if you're a member of one club and you get 3 CCs, the club can only get 1 CC from you. You can't give them all 3. It doesn't work like that. Again, it's learning the rules of the game, okay? So again, be mindful. If you have questions, let us know. We'll be happy to help you, but we know that you're not reading the policy and procedures like we are. So, yes?
Question on serving as a club sponsor, mentor, or coach.
Yes.
Is it 2 separate clubs or 2 separate incidents?
No, it's either or. So either you're a sponsor or a mentor or a coach to get that credit. So it's only one.
One is, okay.
But if by chance you're really aggressive and you love being a sponsor and now you want to be a mentor, that would count for another DTM.
Okay. Because the way the form looked as though you had to have 2 different roles.
No, it's just one. Any other questions? Because I know that's the part that people have questions about. High performance leadership. I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, Mo, I don't know what to do. And so the minute I engage them for 5 minutes, I have about 10 ideas. It's not hard. Some of you are doing community work outside of Toastmasters or a project at work like I am. That's fine. It could still be a high performance leadership. Just make sure a Toastmaster is on your committee because they'll help you along the processes to make sure you meet what's required for Toastmasters. Yes?
Serving as area government
It can, but one of the things about leadership is to challenge yourself. Not only the process, but yourself. Just because you're an area governor, you have to complete that successfully for 12 months. But what do you do a project, it's called HIGH for a reason. We always say, give us your project so we can put it on the website. And then people go, oh no, that's all right. Because it's not a project that really looked like it was viable. When you look at what's required in the 5 projects, just because you're an area governor, that's great, but what did you do to exceed the role of area governor? What was exceptional about that role? Did you have 5 clubs, 12 and below, and did you help bring them back from the brink, like Lovely did with Pragmatics? That's noble. That's hard work, and that's a process. You want to show some type of process, working with a team of people to achieve a goal. The beauty about the high performance leadership, and I don't know if it's beautiful or not, but you don't have to be successful. You don't have to be successful. If you are unsuccessful in your quest to achieve your goal, you will still get credit because it's about the process, okay? And what you've learned and identified as a leader. I'm seeing Mahesh vigorously run the red card, so we're going to keep it moving. All right, so I've got 5 scenarios. What I'd like to do is divide you up. So right down this line, over here to my right is one team. Here over, split by Deb, is team number 2. Fair enough. And then the rest here, 3. And if we can make 2 teams over here, 4 and 5. And I'm going to tell you what scenario. Hold on, I know everybody's all excited to get up. I'm going to give you your scenarios, okay? We're going to go right in order. this team over here, I want you to discuss the first scenario, Lieutenant Governor marketing. What I want you to do is discuss among yourselves how to come to a solution for this particular scenario. Team number 2, you're going to take the area governor, which is kind of ironic because they're all sitting next to each other and they're area governors. Okay, this one right here is going to be district governor. Good luck with that. And then we have division governor over here and lieutenant governor, education and training. We're going to give you about 8 minutes, Mahesh, to collaborate, come up with ideas towards solutions and a collaborative effort. No one person should take over, please. And if you guys could divide among yourselves into 2 teams. We'll give you about 8 minutes. And then we would like a representative from each group to come up front and share their solutions from their teams. And if I see people leaving, I'm going to come after you. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm going to give you 8 minutes, everyone. Enjoy.
What are we supposed to do?
If you will. Everyone? All right, can I get a representative from Team 1? Please come to the front. Let's give her a round of applause. As we and when you come to the front, I love that teams are still working. This is your district governor speaking. Can you please tell us your name, which club you're from, and how long you've been in Toastmasters?
My name is Joyce Webster. I'm from the Toast of ICF Club, and I was a charter member from August 2009, so it was 3.5 years. We have the lieutenant governor scenario where Mary is doing her own thing and coming up with incentives to try to get members, but she's not listening to the district governor, nor is she attending the meetings. So our approach is to have the district governor call Mary and speak with her and find out why she's not attending the meetings, train Mary on what her roles and responsibilities are, as well as set the limitations of what she can do. She is setting a bad example within the clubs in her district, in her area, by not following the Toastmasters way. So she needs to step forward and follow the leadership goals and guidelines that Toastmasters presents to us so she can be an effective leader. So those are the steps that we would take. And eventually, if Mary does not follow the Toastmasters way, potentially she needs to be voted out of office to preserve the Toastmasters rules. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great ideas from the group. Good job. We'll comment on that. Is there anything from the audience that they would like to add or subtract? I thought you guys did a great job. Somebody must have read the new policy on discipline for the district. Good job. That just came out recently, right, Sharon?
Absolutely.
November last year. So, and the reason why we come up with these scenarios, 1, they're true, it did happen, and 2, you can learn something from it if you're interested in moving up in the leadership track of Toastmasters. The district governor is solely responsible for all monies that are dealing with the district budget, period. It falls on the district governor. At the beginning of the year, or even before, the trio and the treasurer should get together and they should look at all portfolios and decide how to do a budget. In most cases, you will look at previous budgets in the years previous because it's a consistent assignment for the treasurer to turn in that budget to Toastmasters International. If there's any discrepancies or problems, we will not be able to use our funding. They're very serious about that, as they should be. So my team and I have things in place that makes it very simple, like today's meal has to be paid for by the district, even though we ask that you help us out. And there's a process in place for that. So I just can't say, Julia, go ahead and do. She just can't do it. She has to at least let all of us know that she wants to do it, what the estimated cost is, and our treasurer has to say it fits in our budget. So there's processes in place, and I just wanted you to know that. We don't expect everyone to know everything about these scenarios, but we're hoping they're learning lessons. So because a lot of people get into the higher positions, they have no idea. And unfortunately, I was at mid-year training, and there was a district where the marketing person did everything she wanted to do, period. And it caused for just discontent. So I really applaud that team. It's exactly right. If you're missing meetings, the reason why we have meetings is not just to say we're having a meeting, is to gain some knowledge and information that will help each individual leader succeed throughout the year and to keep them upfront with what's going on in Toastmasters. So that's what that scenario was all about. Excellent job. Give her another round of applause. Let's look at Group 2, representative from Group 2. Go, Deb. Give her a round of applause, please. That's the Tell everybody what club you're in, how long you've been in Toastmasters, and about your scenario.
I'm Deb Tyler. My home club is Cascade Communicators. I've been in Toastmasters for 2 years, going on 3. My home club is Cascade Communicators. And my scenario is our area governor. Mitch was appointed by the district governor to serve Area Z. He was thrilled. Area Z has 4 clubs, and Mitch has realized that he cannot commit to making his visits. His job requires him to work out of another office every month. Mitch is embarrassed and doesn't want his division governor to know. Purposely, he has missed all of the division council meetings and teleconferences. What should be done here? The first thing our group came up with was, well, his division governor should have been working with Mitch to get to know him a little better, to understand what his goals are for his areas. The division governor should be making regular contact with Mitch so that he's not sitting out there on his own. Something else that the division governor can do is ask how he or she can help Mitch to get the division council meetings done, how he can be a part of the teleconference, so that the division governor will know exactly what is happening with Mitch, what is holding him back from doing that job, because he was excited, he took on the job, and then he failed to do it. So it's not a very good example to the other area governors if the division governor doesn't take care of that situation. Also, what the division governor can do would be to work Mitch's information, his or herself. All else fails, report to the district level and get a new area governor.
All right, people are fired. What's that guy's name with the toupee with all the money in New York?
I'm missing it, but.
You're fired. Boy, it's an angry crowd here. You also must have read the new discipline policy. Excellent job. Anything we'd like to add or subtract? Yes, our region advisor, Sharon Hill.
As district governor, I had this exact situation happen. I didn't see this before today. The division governor did call and explain exactly this way. I had to call the area governor, take him out, and actually I did him a favor because he didn't know how to say, I can't do this job, even though he loved it going in. Took that bad boy out.
Wow, I'm scared. There's still violence in the room. I'd like everybody to hug the person next to you and say, I love you. Wow, take them out. Just the words that are used. Remember, it's not the meaning, but the way you say it. All right, so everybody's absolutely correct. The thing you need to know, because we're looking for area governors for next year, and I asked if you're interested in becoming area governor, which is a great job, and you have several here today. They will nod and say, I love it, because I paid them. But it is a fun job, and it is the only job that reaches the member all the time. As district leaders, we thrive when we have opportunities like this to interact with you because we oversee so many larger projects. We miss the human contact with our club members. We even miss our own club meetings. So the area governor is our front line of defense. And if a visit is not made, then we're not meeting the needs of our member, which is our sole purpose. And a club that needs us may fail because we miss the opportunity to help them. The area governor role is not a guarantee. It is an appointed position which must successfully be completed in 12 months. If we find that Mitch has missed 5 meetings, for example, we have a secretary who keeps attendance, that raises a red flag. We'll probably catch it a lot sooner and inquire with the division governor. But they need to know, and we let everyone know, that it's not a guarantee. Just because you were appointed does not mean you're automatically provided that credit unless you successfully complete it. So they did an absolute great job. The division governor should chime in. We saw that happen this past year. Life happens, okay? People lose jobs, they get relocated. Why should the club suffer when we can replace that person? We actually replaced 4 area governors this year. So it's not hard to do. People want the job. So definitely something that I thought was a good scenario to give you an idea of what an area governor should do and some of their responsibilities and what happens if they don't do it. So excellent job, Group 2. Group 3, somebody's a district governor in Group 3. Come on down. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ready to give you a scenario.
Thank you very much. I'm Barbara Owens. I've been in Toastmasters for 4 years now. I've been the area governor in 2010. Yes. Our scenario is the district governor. District Governor 10,001, Governor Roger, feels very insecure about serving his term. Although he's been in Toastmasters for 10 years, he never really paid any close attention to how things were being done. He knows his job entitles delegation, but he doesn't want to assume the responsibility. He's delegating everything. His top 5 leadership is getting very upset with him, but they're vocalizing their concerns to all who will listen. What should be done here? Now, under normal circumstances, you would probably think that you'd want to go to him. But see, nobody's really telling him. He doesn't know. They're talking to other people. Now, in this case, we got to go over his head because he has a checklist too that he has to be responsible for. So in going over his head, you're not doing him a disservice. You're having his authority to check out what he's been doing. And in that checklist, because the group has told his leadership what's going on, that's one of the areas that they're going. So how is your group working? What is going on in reference to what he's delegating to them? Does he know what is going on? Is he really servicing them? My thought on that is that he's tired. He needs to be inspired. So it's not just going to happen on the job with this one. He's going to have someone of authority. I don't believe this one can be solved with the normal corporate executive where you would go and be able to speak directly with him, the group of people. Because the group of people coming to speak with him would be like a challenge. That would be a disparity for him. And that wouldn't be the way to do that one. So I would say, take the checklist, check him over in reference to what is he actually doing with his 5 top leadership, and whether or not those answers come back, the way that they come back, to put that into the program of how he's going to be helped in order for him to assume the responsibility that he needs to be doing, that he's delegating, but become a part of that delegation of what he's given them and get involved. He needs vitality, and I think the vitality will come from over who he respects to give him some inspiration. Thank you.
I'm so glad that group number 3 is not firing anyone this go around. So good job, group number 3. So anything we'd like to add or subtract from what Barbara has provided us as information? Yes?
Mentorship.
Excellent.
That's what
Yep. And I think that's what she suggested, but what's interesting about bringing a dignitary in here is that's who you would go to. Our region advisor, that's why that scenario was made, because I think some of you may not know what her role is. And so if you look at that chart that has the structure of service to our members, she is in that particular area with the international officers, and she would be right there with the international director. So every region has an international director and a region advisor. And we as leadership talk with her monthly or quarterly, however we decide to do it, based on our positions to get that feedback. Now, we have a lot of introverts in our organization. That's absolutely fine. I don't care how you come to us. The point is that you're here. And it's hard for some people to reach out to others and ask for help. Now, district leadership is a big task. It's a large responsibility. And it may not even be that that person's not qualified to do it. Obviously, they were voted in by the membership. They believe in that person, but it's an insecurity. And I think earlier I mentioned knowing yourself. It's okay to know, like, I'm super sensitive. Most of you may not know that. You throw something at me, I'll just duck and come after you. But it's not like I'm going to cry, okay? Unless it's paint and I'm wearing a nice fur coat. But the point is, I'm super sensitive. I can acknowledge that about my personality. Some things will affect me differently, and they may stay with me a lot longer. Doesn't mean I'm vindictive or anything like that, but I just remember how I was treated. That's just the way that I know that about myself. What do you know about yourself? Outside of leadership, just yourself, by yourself, what do you know? What can you list as something that really bothers you? What are your buttons that are pushed? For this person in this scenario, the way that we wrote it was that they're just insecure. And that is not unusual in leadership. When someone takes on a new leadership role, it happens all the time, doesn't it, Sharon?
Yes, it does.
This is an opportunity for you to take risk. No matter what position you choose, whether it's club president role or if it's the district governor role, it's going to be fear. If you don't have fear, you're going to have excitement. Everyone is different. When I knew that DG was around the corner in my future, I prepared a year in advance. That's how excited I was. I was like that greyhound in the track ready to go see that bunny rabbit. But then all of a sudden, someone else who moved up in the system realizes, ooh, because Toastmasters doesn't play. And Sharon will tell you, as a district governor, you have so much due on June 15th that if you can make it past to the 16th, July 15th, if you can make it to the 16th, you kind of feel like you succeeded. The year is over and you're done. They have you do so much, and I think my area governors know what we mean. We trained you in June. So we had all of this to do even before the year started. So it's very busy, very fast-paced. So it can be intimidating, and it's okay. And I'm saying that just to say it's okay. But seek help. Seek the ones that know what they're doing. As Joe Jarzenbeck, as you know, the one that answered all the questions from today's seminar, that's my mentor. No brainer, right? So seek help from those that have the answer. Yes?
One quick thing. Vocalizing to all concerns to all that would listen, to me, is an absolute no-no in leadership. The leadership knows there is a mentor above, and to discuss it with them, first amongst themselves,
Right.
and then, but you don't air your limit outside.
But you have to understand we're people.
Yeah.
And if you come to my office any day from Monday through Friday, not a holiday, you will hear gossip all day. And we get paid lots of money, okay, to do what we do, top security clearance. So it doesn't matter, we're people. And I threw that in there because it's going to happen. Okay, it's going to happen, but it's how you handle the rumor and the gossip. You know, if you stand up to the challenge in front of your group and you do a great job, it will dismiss all of that gossip and rumor very easily. Let's move along quickly. And for each participant that comes up, can we make it 2 minutes, please? Division Governor, please come on down. You're the next contestant.
I'm Jennifer Ryan, and you two can speak. And I've been in Toastmasters since 1998, 14 years. And we had number 4, Division Governor. Basically another MIA situation where the area governor just didn't show up. Didn't go to training, and the division governor tried to contact her on numerous occasions, couldn't reach her. So what must be done? Well, our group luckily had Sharon Hill, and she knew all the rules. So she said, if your area governor isn't replaced by September 1st, then the next area governor won't get credit for the year. So this person was 2 months into the year, and no one had heard from her. So we think we need to replace her. Another you're fired situation. But if we put in somebody new who's never been a district officer before, they're not going to get area governor credit. So we want to put in someone who's done it before and pull in a previous district leader to replace it.
So when does the Toastmaster year start? July 1. So what time are we thinking? We're cutting it close to September, aren't we? But if we could still get it before that deadline, which we were lucky to do with at least one or two, actually two, they got credit. So if we can find that problem early and replace people early, then that benefits all that are involved. Currently, we have a division governor and 2 area governors that are not getting credit this year because they came on board after that date. But we are still very pleased they're willing to serve. So it's the experience, folks. It's not necessarily always the credit. You have plenty of time to get credit. So they can certainly be a candidate for next year. All right, our last scenario, Lieutenant Governor, Education and Training. Who wants Juliet's job? Please come on down.
Hi, I'm Dwight Yamada from the Koshar Cavern Club in McLean. I don't want Juliet's job, although Juliet's helped me quite a bit. I've been a Toastmaster for just over a year, so I haven't made the 18-month threshold yet, so I'm still actively engaged. And I do plan to continue to be engaged. I have the Lieutenant Governor Education and Training, or LGET as the acronym. Margaret has learned that she has difficulty building teams. She has a conference to put together and feels as though she can do it with just 3 people. She doesn't want to invite the district governor to any meetings because she fears a lashing. She loves being the LGET and doesn't want to lose her job as one. What should be done? Well, you would think something as important as a conference would be on a calendar, so it would have a date. That's the end milestone. That's unwavering. So you would think the district governor would be curious about what's going on. So the district governor would say, Margaret, what's going on? What's the plan? Could you update me on the status? What's the project? What are your milestones? What's your schedule? All the typical questions. And also the district governor has regular meetings with his or her lieutenant governors. So you would think this would be an agenda item on the regular meetings, whether it's monthly or quarterly. As it gets closer to the conference date, obviously those meetings will be much closer together to make sure it's all organized. That way the district governor could see that Margaret's having problems forming a team, and the other lieutenant governors could probably suggest and also assist in finding members for the team and help make sure that the plan is well defined with milestones and dates, and the conference will be a success. So thank you.
You're hired. Application today. The deadline is March 1st. He did such an excellent job. You're hired. I'm appointing you to something. So just so you know, this is not a true event for our district. I just met with the conference team yesterday at the Hyatt, so it's not about Juliet, so I just wanted to let you know that. But this does exist, correct, Sharon? And we have seen unfortunate circumstances happen 2 weeks before a conference. And what happens then? Everything falls on the district governor. Falls on the district governor. Now, the reason why you want to invite, again, the district governor to the meetings is because of money and guidance. You are meant to be a mentor no matter what position you hold in Toastmasters. I do not care if you are a club president. When your term is over, your job next year is to be the immediate past club president and a mentor to the new president. It says that in the club manual. Same holds true for a district governor. We're fortunate, we get along and we like each other sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. It was just too easy. And, you know, we're able to recognize just by the distressed look, the nonverbal communication, which is over 93% of what we do when we're not using verbal communication. You know, I had the world's greatest team leader in my mind, because he can walk in my office, even walk past the office door, come back and go home. Because he can see that I'm having a bad day, or maybe I'm having a migraine or something. He just had that instinct. When you learn to build relationships, that's what makes life so easy with everything, especially in a servant organization like ours. When I engage members, I jot their names down, or I see their faces, and I go, hey, don't you have an HPL to do? We need help with the conference. Or how about that CL under special projects? What can we do for you? It's going back to, what can we do for you? It still goes back to that. And it goes back to here. Because you never want to put someone in a position where they can't succeed. I'm going to say that again. You never put someone into a position where they can't succeed. Because you have been there and you have done it. Sharing your experience to say, hey, watch the cliff. You can go as fast as you can on that stretch, but watch the cliff. Why? Because I care about that person. I don't want them injured or hurt, and I want them to succeed. And Juliet knows, as well as my lieutenant in marketing, he knows that I want them both to succeed. Because if they succeed, the district succeeds. Nothing we do is ever done alone. It's a ripple effect. Okay? If our club members are excited and happy, they're going to all come to the conference, because her and her team have put together an amazing conference this year. And it would be sad if someone missed it. Well, when I was the Lieutenant Governor of Education and Training, I put on a great conference with my team. And someone that was brand new, just joined 2 weeks ago, heard about the conference, showed up, shocked me. Because I know this person. We mentioned it at the club during our business meeting, provided the flyers to all the members, and he showed up in 2 weeks. Brand new member. Said this was the best thing that I've ever seen. He said, I had a great time. He said, I had no idea the organization was this big, that it offered this much. I said, come on over. Let me introduce you to some international directors. And he came, another new person came to our conference in the fall. I said, come here. Let me introduce you to the first vice president of Toastmasters International, our future president, Mohammed Murad. That meant the world to him. We provide opportunities, we don't take them away. We have to go through a discipline process, that's a different story, but it's rare, okay? Because people know it's not worth it in a nonprofit. If they're not working out, it's because they choose not to, not because we don't like them. We offer everyone an opportunity to be the best that they can be. And I promise you, if you ever consider leadership in Toastmasters, you'll be standing here a couple of years from now giving this same speech about your story and how you can inspire others to step forward and give it a try. Because really, it is the best thing that's ever happened to me so far. As of today, this afternoon, 2 o'clock. No, I'm just kidding. It's fun, and leadership is fun, and my team knows that. I have a different leadership style than our past leaders. They know that. I'm very straightforward. I don't hide anything. I don't manipulate. I don't have time for that stuff. Some other people will. You don't get to pick your teams in Toastmasters at this level when you're voted in. The district does. You do. So if there's 5 people running for one position, that's great, because that will allow the district to get to know each and every person's personal values, their inspiration, their motivation, what drives them, and why they feel they could be the best to serve in that position. It brings the best out of all of us. Competition does that. It will bring the best. Like I said yesterday, I was really sick, but I'm here today. Why? Because on pure adrenaline, I want to be here. Would have been too easy to tell Juliet that I couldn't make it. Not knowing that Joe was here, he could handle it. But the point was, I wanted to be here. My time is running out. I gave this presentation because a lot of people don't know we're a few weeks away from the deadline for next year's nominations, which will be at our spring conference on May the 4th, a Saturday, at our business meeting. Many that I see in the room nodding have already submitted their nominations to be a division governor next year.
Yo.
Gwen has done it twice, go see her. No, change my mind, don't go see her. No, I'm just kidding. You can put in to be a lieutenant governor marketing, lieutenant governor education and training, or district governor if you qualify. Now, if you don't qualify, we would love to have you as an area governor. There's no need to fill out a nomination for that. Just send me an email. My email is on every page in that document. So please, if you have any questions, which many of you do, send me an email, set up a phone call with me from the website, and I'll be happy to answer that for you. But I'd hate for you to miss this opportunity because I'm so glad I took advantage of it. It made me a better person. It made me what I think is a better leader, as I'm seeing this year. And I'm turning down promotions at work because I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mo, for that amazing, gosh, that 90 minutes went by fast. But I learned a tremendous amount, so thank you for engaging us and teaching us all about leadership and Toastmasters. We have a 30-minute break, and then we go into our final session on helping clubs become better.